Rebecca is 35 years old.
I'm very glad we have that part of the presentation out of the way.
I'm 53. Our collaboration is called Theater of Inclusion, and for the better part of the last 12, 13 years, we've been in classrooms and community centers, detention centers and boardrooms and spaces like this theater. And we have been working with people that want to solve problems and want to get things working. As you can probably tell, we don't always see eye to eye. There's no Kool-Aid in the water that we're drinking that makes conflict go away. Look, school, work, life, collaborating is tough. Difficulties woven into the fabric of our existence. And what we actually want is everybody, all of us, working on what is difficult, right? We want everybody working on the stuff that is really hard. It is very important to realize that this takes a real commitment to practicing skills daily that encourage positive interactions between human beings.
So we can't just say, be nice, be respectful, be a team player. We have to teach those things as a skill, just like we teach math or science or architecture or language arts. It is skill-based. And when we think about learning environments, we often think about where we're going to put the walls, how we're going to place the chairs. As we've seen several times today, rows don't always work for every environment. But we also have to think about the relationships that are going to take place in those environments. Otherwise, the walls and the chairs and the order of the room don't really matter. So, why is all of this important? Well, it's important because 8,300 students drop out of school every single day. That's more than 3 million annually. It's important because only 56% of high school dropouts said they could go to a staff person for school problems. Just 41% had someone in school to talk to about personal problems. It's important because 57% of high school dropouts felt their schools did not do enough to make students feel safe from violence. And it's important because 75% of US crime is committed by high school dropouts. Relationships are important. Carefully cultivating relationships is really important. And then neglecting to carefully craft those relationships has far-reaching consequences.
I don't think that anybody in this room got up this morning and thought to themselves, I really hope that my ideas don't matter today. We all want our words and our actions to have a positive impact, to tip the balance toward the good. This is where innovation comes in. Innovation is nurtured and developed through a pattern of behavior that constantly encourages it to come to the surface, to think about how it is expressed. If one person in a learning community does not feel safe, he or she holds back, or worse yet, disengages completely. Innovation goes out the window, and learning and teaching become laborious.
So how do we actually do this? How do we actually teach the mechanics of building a relationship? Well, there's a lot of ways that we can do this. We can ask people to walk on the right side of the hallway. Sounds easy, but what it does is it reduces the sense of commotion. It instills a sense of order. People aren't as freaked out that somebody's going to bump into them. We could ask people to stop at a doorway before they walk into a room so that they think about building the habit of being composed before they enter a room, to be prepared for the work that is going to take place, rather than everybody gathering in, having this chaotic energy, and then trying to settle it down. But the thing that we want to focus on today is what we call the art of encouragement. The art of encouragement has 3 steps. The first step, you say a person's name. Now again, this sounds really, really simple, but you have to stop and think about all the things we do to get to knowing a person's name. If you're a young person, often you need to be taught how to introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Rebecca.
Hi, I'm Dante.
We don't come out of the womb knowing how to do that. We can't assume that kids know how to do that and that they're going to feel comfortable doing it. We have to teach it like a skill. You also have to teach them how to ask for somebody's name. We worked with an organization, and we worked with their kids, and they had a large group of kids, but they had broken them up into 4 subgroups. And almost all of the activities were done in those 4 subgroups. Well, about 4 weeks into the program, we brought all the 4 subgroups together. And it was the first time they had done an activity as one whole group, other than, lunch or a break where they could kind of opt into their social groups. And we brought that group together, and the adults had thought of this group as one large group, because that was their experience. The kids thought of themselves as 4 small groups. So when we asked one child to say to another child, the first step of the art of encouragement, say the name, 4 weeks into the program, the child did not know their colleague's name. They weren't one group. There hadn't been an opportunity. And nobody was wearing name tags because they're so far into the program. So we have to think about, how do you find out somebody's name? How do you build all of that in? Second step, phrase of encouragement. Great job. Wonderful. Fantastic. Excellent. Awesome. Lovely. Thesauruses are great. Thesauruses? Thesaurusi? Thesaurus. A thesaurus is great. You want to come up with as many positive words as you can, right? We all watch TV. We all see what's happening around us. We have a wide vocabulary for how to express the negative. We have to be deliberate about how we develop positive language and how we build that habit into young people as well. So, name, phrase of encouragement. Third step, describe the specific action you are encouraging. Now, this is really important, because the thing about the art of encouragement, we're not just trying to make people feel good, right? This is not a thing where we all want to chant, we're number 1, but we have no idea what we're number 1 at. It is about skill building. It is about conveying a sense of the value system in that environment. So it is a skill or an action that you are encouraging. So when you put that all together, it sounds something like, John, you did a great job of describing the way maps have been developed over time. And when you get really good at all 3 steps and you can really add the details in, you can add a 4th step, which is where you describe the way that person has impacted you, which sounds more like, John, you did a really great job of describing how maps have evolved over time. I've absolutely never thought about there being fake places on maps, and now every time I look at a small town when I'm driving, I'm gonna wonder if it really exists. And I feel like my imagination has just grown 10 times. Thank you for that. It's very different than walking by somebody, not making eye contact, not saying their name, not describing what they've done, and simply saying, good job. Right? We've all been there. We've all had somebody give that kind of hollow gesture. This is about developing a relationship.
So we really work at the front door of expression. We do a lot of guerrilla research. The steps that we've laid out here come from direct experience and trying a variety of things and failing at a variety of things. We were doing an Art of Encouragement workshop a few years ago, And this young lady at the end of the workshop came up to us and said, I've been sitting here and I've been listening to this, and I've been watching different people get up and try to do this, and I've been going through my head how to do it, and I'm wondering what if everybody in the world did this. And it's very interesting because in my mind, I'm getting beaten up, and I don't mean metaphorically. In my mind, I'm actually thinking about being in 7th grade, being bused for the first time, being in a school hallway, and being beaten up by a gang of guys. It's the late 70s, and I believed in pacifism, and that sounded really good, except in terms of social relationships, it didn't work so well because my friends and my enemies both didn't want to have anything to do with me. And the reason why I bring this up is that my art teacher, a little lovely woman from the Philippines, saw that I was disengaged, I was removed. She clearly understood what crisis was, and she came up to me and she said, she said, Mr. Ventresca, I see that you're doing the lettering, the ornate lettering, really, really well. Do you think you would be willing to help me teach that to some of the other students? And I had this kind of, gap close in my mind. I thought that our work was about doing all this really great stuff that's up in my head, and then I realized that work actually drives us to what is at the center of us, at the core of us, and that's where we're all heading, because when we unleash that, then we can create authentic communities.
And this isn't just about classrooms in terms of adults speaking to students. It is a skill that everybody can practice. Adults have to encourage one another. Students have to encourage one another. And students have to encourage the adults, and the adults encourage the students. You are building a culture that everybody can participate in. It's also not just about classrooms. This is true in our work environments, right? We worked with an organization a few years ago, and a woman that had heard us talk about the art of encouragement, which, again, it sounds really simple. We've been hearing this kind of idea since we were all very little, but look around the world, we haven't gotten it right yet. And she described that there was a person in the organization who was not at the executive level. They were a worker bee, but they stepped up and they worked hard, and they always kind of filled in the gaps without drawing attention to themselves. And so she decided to go up to this man one day and to encourage him. And so she just simply explained to him that she noticed that he stepped up and that this really had a profound impact on the way she was able to do her job. A grown man with children began to cry. He said that in the near decade that he had been there, no one had ever encouraged him. No one had ever once told him he was doing a good job outside of a formal review. We need encouragement. And it needs to be genuine. You have to look for the good in people. You can't just make it up. You can't just cut and paste from every person that is around you. So, I have a challenge for you. I invite you to practice the art of encouragement. 2 different ways. One, with someone that you know. Again, name, phrase of encouragement, and the specific action that you are encouraging. And 2, a complete stranger. Somebody at the grocery store. Somebody you see walking down the hallway.
Hold on a second. So text, dear Rebecca. No, that's too formal. Hold on. Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Becky. That's good. You did a exquisite. Wait a minute, I can't spell exquisite. You did a tremendous job at keeping me focused during our TED Talk. Thanks.
Thank you, Dante. Text, email, call, write letters, get a cup of coffee. Find people doing good and tell them in detail. Because while we've been sitting here having this amazing day of big ideas, another 8,300 students dropped out of school. And maybe, just maybe, if we build stronger relationships with them, we can reduce that number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.